I have a good idea, and I'm excited to do it. Oh, well, hello, first of all. I have a good idea. Well, Rachel gave me the idea. So it's not really I had a good idea, she had a good idea. But I have done it in the past, so technically it's still kind of my idea, a little, maybe, like a tiny bit. I have this idea where we're gonna make this like a little series-y thing or something, I don't know. But I'm going to take modern cartoons and vintageify, make them vintage, or, you know, make them inspired by vintage stuff. I've done it in the past with Harry Potter, which I can show right here. Harry Potter and Powerpuff Girls and Teen Titans. I've done that. And today we're going to make some other ones, depending on how much time I have. I asked on Instagram, again, like I always do, what cartoons you guys wanted me to vintageify. I got a lot of good suggestions, so I've saved a bunch of them. I don't think I can do them all today. I think I might only be able to do one, but I did get one suggestion that really hit a chord in me, which is totally Spies. And I was thinking of making them like 60s inspired, 60s spy theme inspired. If you don't know, Totally Spies was a cartoon in the early 2000s, and it was about girls who were spies, and they also went to high school and they did spy things. And it was very, very early 2000s vibe. So I'm going to take that and make it like 60s instead. And hopefully, I think what I'm gonna try to do as well is do it in like a 60s cartoon style. So I'm thinking like maybe something like Josie and the Pussycats, or, you know, something along those lines, that like Archie 60s kind of quintessential look. So I think I'm gonna do that, and then if I have time, Sailor Moon, but I'm not sure yet, so we're gonna have to see. Yeah, basically I'm just gonna show you kind of my process for doing this and the steps and just how the creation goes. So come along with me, and we're gonna draw a picture together. I have fur on my hand from you, 'cause you're shedding for some reason. So let's go! The first step I always do is assemble reference. All of you should know by now that I'm obsessed with Pinterest. I assemble everything on Pinterest on a new board of all of the references that I have, so I can kind of just have something to work from, and all of my sources are in one place. I'm collecting all of the characters that people suggested that I think would be really fun to do, and then I'm going to start on Totally Spies. I pull up a reference, and I make sure that I always have a reference next to me while I'm working, especially when I'm trying to imitate a vintage style. You'll see that I jump around through a lot of different images and try to find different images to work from, because the more reference you have, the better your interpretation will be. I'm looking specifically at comics and other ways that the artist has posed their characters, so I can make sure that my poses look similar. When replicating another style, the devil is in the details. Make sure that you don't rely on what you think you know or what feels familiar to you, and instead reference how the artist addresses their anatomy or their line art or their expressions or how they do their hands or how they treat joints. For example, I naturally want to do more curvy arms, but the artist has straighter arms with pointier elbows than what I normally do.
So you basically want to remove everything you know about your own style and look at exactly how the artist that you're replicating approached everything. One of the best ways to learn a new style or practice a new style is to do master copies. I didn't do it here, but essentially what you do is literally copy line for line, shape for shape what the artist was doing. And the more you do that, the better muscle memory you'll have for that style. So usually when I'm learning a new style, especially if it's for work, I'll do a few master copies first for my own practice and then go in and do my own designs after that. So my concept hasn't actually changed it that much because it seems like the original design for Totally Spies probably had 60s spy influence in it already, but I did go in and add some more decade appropriate changes since I wanted this to be more specifically 60s. So that means I changed their hairstyles, added some more embellishments and 60s spy design details in their suits, and also added things like small pieces of jewelry. Because it wasn't that much of a fashion change, I decided since I was approaching this in a more Archie's or Josie and the Pussycat style, it was like Totally Spies if they were around in the 60s. Therefore, they would be a comic, most likely, and if they were a comic, then that means that it would probably be very similar to what was popular at the time, which was Archie. Another trick for making your art look specifically vintage is whatever decade that you are referencing, make sure that you are accurate in what you are depicting. That is through hair, fashion, makeup, etc. So you want to constantly be checking over and over again and looking at references to see what people actually wore during that time period, because there are telltale clues in some of these outfits and stuff that can really make or break an illustration and its decade depiction. I swear on Marilyn's grave, if I see one more photo or illustration of this is 50s and you know because she's wearing a cherry printed dress and stilettos, I'm gonna lose my mind. To emulate this old screen printing comic look, I'm using these brushes from Retro Supply Company. I'll put the link for them in the box below. They have a very specific way that you color with them, meaning that each color should be on a different layer, and there's only 3 colors that you can work with: magenta, yellow, and cyan. By overlapping all of these colors at different opacities and different screen printing dots, I don't know how else to say it, you can then get different types of colors from that. I've left some points where the color bleeds out a little bit or I'm missing spots of color because that makes it feel imperfect, and a lot of the times when these were printed they were often off register a little bit, or maybe the ink didn't go down perfectly in one spot, so I wanted to keep that imperfect human mistake in the design.
Just days before a passenger car derailed, killing 49 people.
I've intentionally kept a reference image on my canvas this whole time, so I can always go back and check and see how the artist did certain things, how the line art looked, how the color was done, etc., so I can consistently compare and contrast, and that also helps keep my illustration similar to that of what I'm trying to replicate. I also have a whole process I do on how to make an illustration look more vintage at the end through a bunch of effects and other things, but I have an entire video on that, so if you are curious, you can go check it out. It is called How to Get Vintage Style in Procreate. And that's about it. Let's check out the reveal.
And we're back. My bangs look weird. We're back. And what did you think? Did you like it? I only had time. Why am I saying we? It's just me. It's not like he's drawing. Are you the artist secretly? Yeah. I only had time for one. Sorry. But that doesn't mean that I won't make more videos if you guys like it of me doing different characters. As you could see in my recordings, that I had Sailor Moon and that lady from Owl House that I don't know who she is because I've never seen Owl House, and Marge Simpson, and you know, like a bunch of characters. So I'll also take requests as well in the comments if you want to leave some, and I will potentially draw more of these if you really like them. Let me know. Maybe leave a comment. I don't know. Also, let me know if there's any other types of videos you'd like to see. Anything you're interested in seeing from me. Leave a comment as well about that. Are you ready to go run errands and then we're gonna sign off and do other things? I almost said the secret word, which is CARRIDE. He very much loves these. Well, follow me on Instagram and TikTok, and if you're not subscribed to me here, subscribe. And that's it. Okay, goodbye. See you later. Bye-bye. See you. Bye.